Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of College and Career Pathways, where every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2 p.m. we provide you with information on various colleges and universities, financial aid resources, skilled trade professions, technical schools, training programs, career exploration, career readiness skills, employment opportunities, all designed to help you make the best career decisions possible. I'm Tony Cureton, your host, and today we are speaking with Detroit Training Center. And Patrick, we welcome you. We appreciate you coming and sharing your program with us.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that great introduction. We look forward to showing you what we have to offer here at Detroit Training Center and answering any questions we can about construction and vocational training in general.
Good deal. Good deal. Do you have a PowerPoint?
I do. I have a presentation, Google presentation is what we use here. But I can pull that up in 1 second here. All right, I will. All right, can everybody see that?
Yes.
All right. Well, first, I'm Patrick Beal. I started my career in construction. So as a high school student, I actually worked in landscaping and did the whole ask your neighbors if they need their lawn mowed thing, and really built up a small clientele. From there, my father had a construction company, and eventually there were no bids to do a really small demolition project that just involved knocking down some walls and throwing some stuff away and things like that. We were able to bid that, and so I got into construction then and started. Actually, it was kind of cool. It was eventually a Google headquarters in Ann Arbor, and basically started my career at the end in construction and worked my way up to where we did the interior demolition of the Broderick Tower downtown, which was the big building with the whale on the side of it, if you know that one. And it was one of the first large projects in downtown Detroit in quite a while, and ended up having upwards of 200 employees at the time, both demo, some carpentry, asbestos abatement, lead abatement. And so from there, I found a big need for training, especially safety training. And we created Detroit Training Center to help meet that need. So that was 8 years ago now, and started with one program and now have 6. And I'll run through those and show what's available. And then certainly people can feel free to ask any questions, and we'll look at how you might be able to get involved if it's something that's interesting to you. One of the first things about vocational education is generally it's shorter term than other types of colleges and other things like that, but it also can work in conjunction. I worked in construction my whole entire career through college. I went to Michigan State University and graduated with a degree in business, specifically finance. And definitely encourage it as a opportunity while you're going through school, in addition to school, if that's something you're interested in. Otherwise, it can also be a full-time career for the rest of your life. Typically, I was making double of what my fellow college classmates were making all throughout college. So that was a great opportunity. So we were founded in 2012. Looking to mostly, we work with unemployed and underemployed adults. We definitely have some recent high school grads, although more often people are coming in their 20s and 30s and getting involved in that. So we work with a number of different funding sources, including Michigan Works entities. We also work with the Department of Corrections for people coming home from prison as well. So all sorts of different people are coming through the training center, and more and more we're working directly for employers who are upskilling their existing employees as well. So we've got these major programs here: heavy equipment operation, commercial driver's license, which is truck driving, blight removal, which is more of a labor program, looking at asbestos abatement and lead abatement, working on many of the people who graduate from that work on the city's blight removal efforts to remove abandoned houses and other structures, residential renovation, masonry restoration, and welding. And starting early next year, we'll also have a diesel mechanics program. So heavy equipment operation is definitely a leading interest. It's a lot of fun. And this program includes asbestos abatement, includes skid steer, excavator, backhoe, aerial lift, telehandler, and forklift certifications. And it's really designed to get people skilled and knowledgeable in operating different types of heavy equipment. Some of the bigger employers are the water department, and during the winter, we also have a lot of people who go into snow plowing and snow removal in general, both working with bigger trucks as well as front end loaders. And so this one is definitely a great opportunity for people who are looking to work with their, work in construction. It's a little bit less backbreaking than some of the other ones because you're using the big equipment to get your job done. Biggest thing about this is trust. So the employer's got to trust you with the equipment. And so in some occupations in construction, you can be a little more rough around the edges, but in heavy equipment operation, they're really going to expect you to be very perfect in your execution, both timeliness and attendance and things like that, because many people are going to depend on you as the operator to safely operate through the environment, as well as be there, kind of when needed in order to operate the equipment, as multiple laborers might depend on one operator. So highway construction is a big component of this, and equipment operators work more in the spring, summer, and fall, and then sometimes are laid off through the winter, but many of them end up doing then snow operations as well. So really depends on what you're looking to do. Good example of a type of program we operate is 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday for 6 weeks, and you're out the other side, and we help connect directly to employment opportunities.
Patrick,
Yeah.
are students trained on actual heavy equipment or simulators?
Oh, absolutely. No, real heavy equipment. We looked at simulators as an opportunity. And frankly, they cost as much as the heavy equipment does. So absolutely, we're using real heavy equipment. As a result, it's turn-based. So there might be 3 or 4 people per piece of equipment, and you're trading off in order to get your turn to operate. But yeah, if you're coming out to us, you'll operate each and every one of these type of equipment for real in the real environment, and get the opportunity to do that. There are some good programs that do the simulator, but it's really not the same thing, and so it is much better, safer, and a little bit cheaper for me to operate with the simulators, but it's not as good of an experience overall. So we really encourage the real operation of equipment. Here in the picture, it's a forklift, which is the simplest piece of heavy equipment that exists. It's definitely the one with the most openings in the world right now. I think there's 2,000 plus forklift openings in the city of Detroit alone. So one of the easiest ones to get for a new operator. We have a $150 class if you just want to be a forklift operator every other Saturday as well. So you don't even have to do the full 6 weeks. You can just do a 1-day training for the forklift. The rest of them really look for a little more knowledge. Forklifts are going to be more used in a manufacturing environment, but are also a mainstay on a construction site as well. So this is definitely a good opportunity for people looking to get into construction. Pay rates typically start around 17 an hour, and 17 to 24 an hour, basically for entry level people. A full journeyman equipment operator is going to be making 35 and up. per hour. So definitely a good amount of money as well. This is a skid steer with tires, which is not the most typical configuration. Frequently, this is going to be a tracked vehicle, but shows us in operation there and what a typical training day might look like. In this case, they were building a bioswale, which is a type of retention pond for water runoff. So if you got a big parking lot and you don't want all the water to go directly in the storm drain, these bioswales help to absorb that water and make sure it doesn't end up all going through the storm drain, so we don't all get the floods we had earlier this year. So hopefully in Detroit, we're going to be building thousands and thousands of these bioswales over the next few years in order to help mitigate those issues with floods. I know I had a flood this year in my house, so we're hoping this becomes a bigger and bigger trend. Commercial truck driving. I don't know if people have been watching the news recently, but the truck driving associations are very good at advertising the fact that there's a massive shortage in the number of truck drivers. There's 80,000 positions available across the US right now in terms of dearth of opportunities for people. There's just unlimited number of positions. I know one trucking company here in Detroit has 2,000 open positions themselves. So this is absolutely open to people. To drive over state lines, you do need to be 21, but there are many openings inside the state of Michigan as well for 18 to 21-year-olds too. So this one is similar, about 6 weeks, could be 7-8 weeks, depending on how long it takes you to learn how to drive. And can lead to other occupations in construction as well. So it's not just the transportation sector. A lot of construction workers need to have their CDL in order to get hired. Right now, we're training a lot of people for CDLs for snowplow positions as well. So Wayne County, Oakland County, the state of Michigan need these truck drivers in order to keep our highways clear for snow. But could also be delivery of material, could be Fago and Pepsi both do a lot of hiring here in the city. And I think we've got over 80 companies that have submitted a job opening to our training center right now for people coming out of this program. So if you're interested in this, it's definitely a big opportunity. Years ago, it used to be a rule that pretty much you had to be ready to go travel all across the country in order to take a truck driving job, because they would only accept first-year drivers in those kind of over-the-road positions, and the local positions required you to have some experience. That's over. Everybody's hiring everybody, and that's because of so many open positions right now. People might have heard about the container ships sitting outside the ports all over the United States. There's ships that can't get offloaded because there's not enough truck drivers to haul the containers away. And so as a result, there's 80 container ships sitting off the port of Los Angeles right now, just docked or I guess anchored, waiting for their turn to get offloaded because there's not enough truck drivers to make the run. So wow. Really a big number of positions. And that's been, there's been openings for years, but in the last year, since they did lay off a little bit at the beginning of the pandemic, but now everybody's ordering it off of Amazon, and these goods got to get where they need to be. So truck driving has really taken off in a big way. The pay rates have also increased as a result. So we're looking at about $18 an hour at the minimum and upward from there. If you're it's also a good opportunity to be your own boss and own your own truck. And in that case, they generally get paid by the mile, about 80 cents a mile if you own your own truck. So can be, 80 cents a mile translates if you're driving a mile a minute, you're can be up to $80 an hour for that type of thing. You're paying for your own fuel then. So that's usually about 20. So it can be about $60 an hour if you own your own truck. which is a fantastic opportunity for people who are getting into that. Could also be construction. We trained a large number of concrete mixer truck drivers this year as well. They make $28.75. So big numbers here for truck drivers. It shows one of our students behind the wheel. It is a big responsibility. You got to keep your points down, and you got to have a driver's license to start. But if you're a safe driver currently and don't have a large number of points, there's going to be big openings there. Another component that's important is there will be drug testing, and that drug testing does include marijuana testing as the federal rules apply for truck drivers. So definitely, if that's something you're interested in, something you got to pay attention to.
Patrick, is the drug testing ongoing or just at the beginning of your career?
It depends on the employer, but in most cases, truck drivers are put into what's called a random pool. So there will be a randomized drug screening after the hire. So every year you have to get a DOT physical, which includes a regulated drug screen. So actually, if you fail that drug screen, that gets reported to the Federal Highway Administration, and you can't get a CDL again for 6 months. So definitely very important if this is something you're thinking about to remain drug free and therefore eligible for these positions. Heavy equipment operators are generally going to get tested at the beginning of their new position, but not necessarily on an ongoing basis. So for truck drivers, that's an ongoing thing that's going to stay consistent throughout the career. That might change in the future, but certainly not yet.
And that does include the medicinal marijuana usage as well?
Correct. Yeah, there's no, as it is still federally illegal, there's no exemptions for medicinal marijuana or any other marijuana use, private or on your own time or anything like that. Certainly that's a rule across the board for truck drivers.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah. Welding is a much more hands-on position. This class both can be during the day as well as at night. We used to be at Randolph Vocational. So I don't know if people know about Randolph on the city's west side there, but it's a high school. We taught there for a while, although right now, since the beginning of the pandemic, we've been at our own location. So this one includes safety, and then knowledge about shop and tools, and then teaches people how to be a welder. It's a very interesting job. It's very hands-on. It's almost artistry. In fact, there are a number of artist welders that make sculptures and other things like that. But it requires a really strong dedication to quality. You could work in a manufacturing facility, or you could work in a construction environment. So they're going to be welders putting up steel structures. So probably 20 or 30 welders working every day downtown on the new Hudson's development with bedrock. But then there's going to be welders working all throughout, doing everything from making fences to building skyscrapers or working in a manufacturing type environment. So this one is 4 weeks during the day, or 9 weeks, nights and weekends, depending on what schedule you pick. It can be the shortest program. And people are coming out making 16 to 21 an hour out of this program, although the high-end welders are making just as much as everybody else. So starts a little bit lower because you got to learn the ropes for a longer period of time, but tops out around the same thing. A master welder is going to be making upwards of 35 an hour. In a construction environment, in a manufacturing environment, maybe more like 26. So depends on what you're looking to do. And if you don't, if you've never seen welding in action, feel free to stop by. We've got orientations every Saturday here at our location at 1 p.m. And then our career counselor, Glenn, will take you over and actually see the welding going on. You got to wear special glasses or a shield in order to look at a welding in action, because the light that generates is actually so bright it'll burn your retinas. So you got to wear a special shield, even to look at it happening. But if we got you set up for that, you can check it out and see for yourself if that's something that might be interesting.
Wow.
You end up doing a lot of grinding and metal preparation as well as the actual welding itself. So this one requires a valid driver's license, drug screen prior to employment. Usually for welders, and there's not that same ongoing drug screening though. This is a picture of the welding in action. So in this case, he's doing a MIG welding. There's 4 different major types of welding. In this one, a type of wire runs through this device and comes out the end there, and then melts right at the tip of the welding gun, and then re-solidifies into, you know, a solid piece of metal. So welding basically allows you to attach 2 pieces of metal together permanently without any kind of screws or bolts or anything like that. So basically allows you to make 2 pieces of metal into one is really the most basic definition of welding. Masonry is another cool opportunity for people. The biggest masonry project in town right now is certainly the train station, where there's, you know, probably 50 plus masons working every day. And you can see them in action if you go drive past the new Ford headquarters there in Corktown or in the Mexican town area. And you'll see the swing stages hanging off the side of the building. So you don't have to be cool with heights, but it definitely helps if you're okay with working up high, because you're going to be working on the exterior of buildings frequently. Another big masonry project will be the bridge from Detroit to Canada. So there'll be you know, hundreds of masons working on that a day. So masons work with brick, block, stone. They do pavers. They do some concrete work. And frequently are working, you know, on the exterior of buildings for maintenance purposes. So if this is something that's interesting to you, it's a little more work, but it starts with the highest pay rate. So the average graduate of our masonry program is working with a union employer, and they start around 24 an hour, or 23.75. So we've had some pretty good success with brand new high school grads and getting them placed at 23 bucks an hour. So definitely a cool opportunity there. Ram Construction is one of the biggest masonry companies in Michigan, and they're always looking for new hires. They're always looking for new masons, and generally start as what's called a mason tender, which is kind of like a mason's assistant, and work your way up to being a full journeyman mason. A journeyman mason is going to be making at least 38 an hour, and a master mason, which is a little more education beyond that, makes 58 an hour. So great opportunities in masonry. Use some heavy equipment to move your material around, but other than that, it is very hard work. It's going to be outside in the elements, in the rain, the snow. You know, you're going to have to be willing to do that work. But if you are, it's very rewarding and kind of, you know, a very cool occupation. You end up, you know, working on older historic structures and get the opportunity to travel around all over the country if you're interested in working on these type of masonry projects. So similarly, this one's going to require a driver's license and passing a drug screen. There's not usually ongoing drug screening for this one. Depends where you work, and usually with a new position, there'll always be a new drug screen. We also teach various classes in OSHA safety, forklift, lead abatement, asbestos abatement. We teach the builder's license if you're looking to start your own business, and some real estate salesperson as well if you want to be a realtor. You can take all those classes with us. These are all much shorter, a week or builder's license is about 60 hours. The rest of these are a week or less. So can kind of result in a quicker trajectory to a higher pay rate, but also almost all of them require some hard work outside, working with your hands, getting dirty. But for a lot of people, that's actually very interesting rather than sitting at a desk all day. Certainly I've done both. I can tell you, when you're sitting at a desk, you want to be outside. When you're outside, you're like, that desk sounds good. So it's always a little greener on the other side, but I highly recommend it, especially while you're going through school, as something to consider for your future, and can obviously make a career out of it as well. So I've certainly taken my construction knowledge and turned it into a career that impacts both. So I'm doing, some construction myself, but more often than not, I'm here running the school. So some info about the builders class. If you're interested, feel free to reach out to me directly, and you can get $100 off that. That one's only only important for people who are looking to start their own business. So we recommend somebody start in a construction position first and work their way towards that. It's really hard to start without the experience. So, but can be very rewarding. I was only 19 when I first got my builder's license and had my own construction company. So it's definitely open to people who are getting started at the beginning of their career. I think that's all I have there. I see some stuff in the chat. Are there girls in the program or construction? Absolutely. And there's actually some requirements of hiring women for certain projects. So companies are looking for women. I would anticipate there's a harder road. I won't lie to you. There's going to be not as many women on the site. And as a result, there are going to be some things you got to deal with that the average guy might not have to deal with. But at the same time, it's going to be the same pay rate, same opportunities, and really it is open for women. And many companies are actively hiring women. There's a great organization called Women in Construction, National Association, and a state organization that we work with. That actually helps to pay for specifically for women who are looking to get involved. The Department of Transportation has a program also that is specifically open for women who want to work on highway projects, and helps to pay for them to go through school as well. So absolutely, there are women in every one of the programs that we offer. There's going to be women in the field, although it is certainly a smaller percentage of the overall workforce. So I'd say in construction, it's less than 15% of the workforce in construction. In the manufacturing area, it's a little bit higher than that, but definitely it is open to women, and many companies are seeking out women to work in specific areas, and definitely don't let that stop you from taking a career in the trades. I will say, are you going to face some obstacles because you're a woman? Absolutely. There's going to be some guys out there who aren't used to having women on the job site and aren't going to act appropriately. And so you do have to, kind of come up against that. But if you're willing to do that and work your way through it, I think it's a good opportunity for everybody to be involved. It's definitely a great opportunity, and I wouldn't shy away from it because of gender or anything like that. It's going to be a good opportunity. Same with truck drivers. I'd say truck drivers are way higher percentage, probably 35% of the truck drivers that we are dealing with are women. So no barriers there. You're in your own truck. Wouldn't expect the same kind of crew dynamics as some construction sites. Really no barriers at all for women driving trucks. In fact, the city of Detroit employs a large number of women driving trucks themselves. The water department has a large number of truck driving women. No barriers there, and no barriers for our schools, certainly. So how old do you have to be to attend? Our programs are for 18 and up for the workforce programs. We've got some classes where you can be 14 and up, but most of the occupations in construction, manufacturing, and transportation have an OSHA requirement for 18 and up. So it is generally a requirement across the board for that 18, but anything beyond there and you're all good. Do we offer financial aid? Yes, if you're a City of Detroit resident, each of our programs that I talked about here is sponsored through Detroit at Work. So as long as you didn't make more than $55,000 last year, which the average student certainly has not, then there's going to be opportunities to get funded through the City of Detroit directly through Detroit at Work. We also have hiring and sponsoring employers. So some of the programs will have an employer attached directly, and you'll even can apply to the employer before you get started. If they select you, then they'll pay for you to go through the training as well. So that's definitely an additional opportunity. We do not accept federal student financial aid or most college financial aid methods, but we do have ways for people to enroll. We also have a finance program that is available to people who are interested in getting involved, and that program will basically pay for them to enroll, and then it takes 7% of your income over the next 3 years. And so that can be another good opportunity for people to get involved. And basically, they just have to pay about 7% of your future earnings for 3 years and to the finance company, and they'll pay for you to attend school as well. So kind of a cool, different opportunity. We also have a partnership with a credit union. So if you want to borrow the money and you've got a credit score, you do need a credit score of above 580. But if you have a credit score and you have a credit score above 580, you can generally borrow from a credit union to attend as well. We definitely have that as the last option and encourage the other options that are completely free first. But it's an option for people if they're interested. And then how much does it cost? So I can run through the different programs. Starting with heavy equipment, it's a $5,000 program. The driver's license, commercial driver's license is $5,000 as well. The welding is $6,800, and the masonry restoration is $5,000. So significantly cheaper than most colleges, and significantly shorter time duration than most colleges, for sure. So it is a little more accessible for people. And then if you are borrowing money to attend, generally speaking, you can pay it off incredibly faster than most colleges as well. So depending on what you're looking to do, those are always going to be options for you.
So Patrick, you said that there is a program through the City of Detroit that will cover the expense of the classes.
Yep.
If you're a Detroit resident.
Correct.
And you have to be at least 16 years of age, you say?
I believe that that requirement is 18 for that program. 18 as well. Yeah.
Is there an age cap? Like, does it cut off?
Nope. It could be. We actually had a 67-year-old attend one of our classes one of our programs. We have people of all ages attend the classes all the time because it can be a component of their ongoing occupation. So it could be somebody very deep in their career that might want to take an OSHA class or something like that. But yeah, we had a 67-year-old who retired from, I believe, General Motors and came and took the heavy equipment program, and they're doing construction now. So certainly it is open to everybody all up and down the age spectrum. From 18 is kind of the OSHA rule, so there's not much we can play around with that, but above 18 and you're certainly eligible to attend.
Patrick, do you have to have a high school diploma or a GED to attend your program?
No, you do not. So some of the best employers do look for that. So to get to that highest possible wage, we're going to always encourage people, if they haven't finished high school or gotten a GED, we're going to always encourage that as a component of the training. And we've got some literacy and high school equivalency partners, but graduation is not a requirement to get started, but it is a requirement to get the highest pay rates. and the best opportunities. So most of the supervisor positions are going to require that. And then, several of the apprenticeship programs are going to require that. So for instance, if you want to get to the highest wage in either masonry or heavy equipment, participating in an apprenticeship program is a great way to go. Those generally require a high school or equivalency component. But right now, for example, for truck driving, we've got a program in partnership with the city where you can get both at the same time. So you'll come to us, get your CDL, and we partner with Southwest Solutions to get the high school equivalency as well. So can definitely be an option for people regardless of graduation. However, my personal thing, if you're in school, finish it out for sure. I wouldn't quit in order to take one of these positions because it'll limit you long term. So definitely, I would say finish out the high school if you can, and take a look for this afterwards, or even some of these positions can be an after school position. I had a little unique advantage in coming in through a family business, so some of the rules didn't apply to me the same way they might apply if you don't have that access. But definitely graduation is going to be a good idea for everybody who wants to be involved in any of these positions, but not necessarily a requirement to get started.
And so when a person completes any one of your programs, what type of licensing certification will they receive in that field?
So it depends on the program. A good example would be in heavy equipment. Each one of these is a credential that's earned. And so this is going to be something that can then be taken to those employers. Different employers have different requirements about credentials. So heavy equipment, there's no license directly for a heavy equipment operator. So the only license you get is an asbestos abatement contractor supervisor license. And that's required if you're going to be working on structure wrecking projects, like if you're helping to wreck houses around the city, that's going to be a requirement. To work on a highway project, actually, there's no license required at all. It's about experience and knowledge and these certifications. In truck driving, the big one is the CDLA. So you get your CDLA, and that's golden, and you can take that all over the country. It's going to be exactly the same license everywhere you go. Certainly a good one to have, and you can stack them as well. So some people take heavy equipment and CDL, and they make a little bit more money than if you took just one of the two. So definitely an option for people. In welding, there's an Aws Welding Certification, and so that's a national association of welders that put on a test. So you actually do some welds. They take those welds, they send them into a lab, and they measure the weld chemically and verify that it's a good weld of different types, and they give you this Aws welding qualification and certification that can be portable all over the country and is a good thing to have for sure if you're looking to be a welder. There's other types of certifications you can continue to get after you start your career as well. The biggest one, the most highest paying welding positions are going to be well, the highest one is underwater welding. Well, that is very rare. So that's like helping to build offshore oil platforms and repair boats and stuff like that. But the most common and highest paying is going to be pipeline welders. And so that is another thing you can continue to learn over time and help build things like oil pipelines. And it's you obviously don't want your oil pipeline to leak. And so that certification has a great amount of pay that comes with it. In masonry, similar to heavy equipment, there's not really a license at all. It's going to be based on your experience and qualifications. And depending on if you're a union or not, it's going to be number of hours worked. That really makes a difference in your pay rate for masonry. So we include the OSHA 30 certification and several certifications that might be helpful in that area, but none of them are required the same way for a license per se. And then we teach several other licenses. We teach for the EPA license for lead abatement itself, which is a state of Michigan license, asbestos abatement, which is a state of Michigan license, and real estate license, builder's license are other options you can get. But it really depends on which career you're interested in, and some of those might be the right thing for you.
And once a student completes whichever program,
Mhm.
are they job placed or job assisted?
So the different programs have different levels. We certainly have career counselors for each program, and we have employers that come to visit each program. So sometimes people think the word placement means we guarantee it. You
Right.
got to interview, you got to impress the employer, you got to get hired. But at the same time, we're going to make it as easy as humanly possible. And it's never been as easy as it is today. More employers are hiring like crazy than ever before.
Yeah.
And so as a result, it's, if you want it and you're showing up, there's a big joke going around in construction that says, do you have a pulse? You got a job. So if you show up, they'll take your pulse, you're alive, you're hired. So it is definitely pretty easy right now to get those positions. Some of our students are getting 3 or 4 offers instead of just one that they used to get at the time. So it is definitely wide open in terms of placement. But the word can mean different things to different people. So we always say it's job. We call it placement, but if we drill down on it, it's assistance with job placement.
Okay.
And so we have a list of hiring employers for each program. And then we have a number of employers that come out to each program. So for truck driving is always the easiest one. We've got 90 different companies on a list, I believe, and 5 or 6 might come out to visit the class during any one student's program. Each one of them will make an offer. If you get that CDL, they'll hire you. The other occupations are going to require showing that dedication. Heavy equipment is probably the hardest because you're going to immediately be trusted with a $100,000 piece of equipment, if not a $200,000 piece of equipment. And so they're going to really look for somebody that they want to trust through the position, but also open for many different types of people. And I had mentioned before, for City of Detroit residents, there's funding. There's also that same kind of funding for anyone who lives in the state of Michigan through the Michigan Works Office. It's just not as easy as the City of Detroit, but it's definitely an option for them as well.
What was the name of that City of Detroit program you said?
So that's called Detroit at Work, or Detroit Employment Solutions Corporation. There's 8 different service centers all over the city of Detroit that they could go to. And I can give you the phone number if people are interested in giving them a call. It's going to be, well, I actually don't have it right here, but I can just real quick. Detroit at Work is going to be 313-962-9675 or 962-WORK. And the Detroit Employment Solutions Corporation works with people who are looking for any type of employment through the city of Detroit. We're one certified training center. There's 52 of us that are part of the network. And they also help staff for Amazon and for FCA. So if you're looking to get in manufacturing, construction, truck driving, there's some IT certifications. It's definitely an option for you.
Sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yeah, definitely. I highly recommend it, no matter what your eventual goal is. If you want to make more money while you're getting there, or if you want to do this as a career, it's definitely open to people. It is hard work, and you can't look at your phone. So, and you got to be on time. But if you're willing to go the whole day without looking at your phone and without being on time every day, and the drug testing requirements is another component. But if you're willing to do those 3 things, it's going to be wide open for you.
Good deal. Good deal. Excellent program. I've been following you guys for at least 5-6 years. I had a couple people, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, come out to our program and give a presentation, and then they transitioned on, and I wasn't able to make a connection for a couple of years until now. And you guys got a great program for people that are interested in getting into the skilled trades, because there have been a lot of barriers, and
Absolutely.
you guys eliminate many of them.
You like to make it easy, and especially if you're a Detroit resident right now, there's a huge number of projects that have a 51% Detroiter requirement. And so
Yeah.
these companies are bending over backwards to help out and hire. And if you want more info, I pulled up the website here. It's detroittraining.com. It's got information on each of the available programs, and they really explain what are the requirements, what you're looking for. And if you want more info about a particular program, at the bottom of every page is going to be, well, there's usually a brochure that actually has some information about past graduates and other things like that that you can download or look at, and just look at, some stories of individual students. And then there's almost always going to be a place to put your info, let us know what you're interested in, and then we'll send out emails over time indicating what opportunities available to get enrolled. Almost all these programs start every 3 weeks, so no waiting around. You can get involved pretty much immediately at any time. So they're always happening. You can see the phone is blowing up today. So that's probably more employers calling. It's actually been a crazy week.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, for employers. So we've got a big number of snowplow jobs coming up if people are interested in snow plowing. You make great amount of money. It works overnight. It's definitely one of the hardest jobs out there, but if you're interested in that, let us know. There are all the counties, the state, and private employers are hiring right now for snow. So
what suggestions would you have for students that are interested in becoming an electrician?
So electrical is something we don't do ourselves, but there is a great training center here in Detroit, in Corktown, is the union apprenticeship program. So that one is going to require a high school graduation or equivalency. It's going to require some good math scores. So you got to study your math, and you're going to need at least a 10th grade math equivalency to enroll in that one. It's competitive. So you're going to compete against other people to get a spot in the apprenticeship program. The apprenticeship program starts you out, about 17 an hour, and you work your way up upwards of that 35 as well. I think they end at 38 for that one. And it's a 4-year program. So you learn and work, but you get paid to learn electrical. Great opportunity. You can check out the union. And so it's the 1181, I believe. But you can look up that Detroit Electrical Apprenticeship Program and just Google that, give them a call. There's going to be an application. I think it's one time a year for that program. So there is a specific date that starts every year. I don't actually know what it is, but definitely a great option for people. It's a little bit less of physical labor than some of the other construction positions, and a little bit more mental. But because of the competitive nature, it also pays a little bit better than some of the other ones. So definitely a good option. And it's the same thing for plumbing and HVAC. And so plumbing, HVAC, and electrical all end up being those longer term apprenticeship programs. We don't teach for any of those three, partly because the union does a great job with those. The ones we teach for, they have a little more openings for people outside those areas. So if you're looking to get involved, highly recommend those. All of them are going to require that high school graduation. They're all going to have drug testing requirements. They generally will have a driver's license requirement, but they're all looking for good people as well. But there is, for all three of them, there's a competitive process. So you got to get accepted into those apprenticeship programs. If you get that, you'll get placed with an employer as well.
Good deal, good deal.
Yeah.
Are there any more questions? Cheryl, do you have any more questions for Patrick? Okay, good deal. Well, thank you so much, Patrick, for your time. Again, the Trade Training Center is an excellent program. I highly recommend it to all of our students that are interested in going into the construction area. Again, thank you guys for joining, and you all have a great day.
Thank you. Look
All
forward
right.
to seeing everybody. Let me know if you come out. Let me know where you saw us at, and we'll definitely look to get you involved.
Good deal. Patrick, I'm gonna reach out to you in the new year because I want to have you back for our winter semester students.
Sounds great.
Good deal. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank
Have a
you.
great weekend.
See ya.